Test, test, 1, 2, 3. What's going on, team? It's Ricky with Technical Solutions. I hope that you guys are all having an amazing Sunday. One of my favorite parts of the week is as we prepare and come together and talk about simply the top stocks that you all see value in. So if this is the first time that you're ever tuning on in to one of our Sunday stock talks, welcome. We literally host them every single Sunday at 6:30 p.m. as of right now due to daylight savings Mountain Standard Time. So I really hope that throughout this video you come across, I just had a little brain fart, you come across a series of different stocks that meet your criteria. Of course, we're going to be talking about at least 10 different stocks. You don't have to agree with all of them, but my goal throughout this video is for you to, holy smokes, I don't know why I'm having so many brain farts, but my goal for each one of you guys is to be able to cherry pick the series of stocks that we covered today, add them to your watch list, and then be able to set your alerts and follow up with them when they begin to make sense to you. So is this live? What's going on, Ken Turner? I recorded this in advance. I just knew that you were going to comment that. No, of course this is live. So I really hope that also I earn your thumbs up. And let's go ahead and get right to it. I'm going to say what's up to a couple of the people that we have tuning on in. What's going on, Kevin, Cecilia, Juan? We got Jordan in the house. What's up? What's up? Miles, Harry, Vu, Oscar. I like it. What's going on, Sebastian? We got Caleb, Matthew, Dear Car 707, Miles, Summer, Raphael, Oscar Valdez. I like it. I like it. Let's see if we got a couple of our regulars here. So we got Madison, Tyler, Daniel, Jenny. Ooh, there we go. Francis, Julio, Icy, Kevin Velasquez. What is that? All right. Sarah, Kyle, Anton, Raphael. We got Jordan once again. Michelle, Ozzy, David. I like it. I like it. What's going on, Jason, Kyle? Man, we got a lot of Kyles here. It might be the same one. Here we go. Here we go. What's going on? What's going on? Alrighty. Well, I really do appreciate you guys taking time out of your Sunday. There's so many. Let's be honest, right? Let's be 100% honest. There's so many different things that you could be doing instead of jumping on into this live stream and breaking down, and talking about stocks. But again, do something today that your future self will thank you for. So I hope that I do my part throughout this video and talk about a series of different stocks that maybe meets your criteria, and you can add them to your watch list and follow up with them when they begin to make the most sense to you. So again, don't forget to set your alerts on everything that we talk about today, and I hope that throughout this video we earn your thumbs up. Let's go ahead and get right to it. All we ask you to do is to post your stock in the ticker call out format, and I would be more than happy to break it down for you. So what's your filter? Well, I don't specifically have a filter. Our Sunday stock talks are not necessarily for the stocks that I see value in. I just give my opinion. When it comes down to like my criteria that I focus on, there's three main things. I think it's much more attractive when we see a very bullish uptrend pattern. I like to focus on good deals and that there's a consistency aspect, right, for me to be able to understand how it tends to trade. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm trying to see if I see any of the stocks being shared right now. Here we go. Caleb in the ticker call out format. Caleb, I appreciate you going out of your way and planning out your trade. So we got BABA. Let's go ahead and break that one down. This is one that I personally have been paying attention to. Not all of you guys have to agree, but one of the things that I found very attractive before about BABA, which is Alibaba, is how consistent and how bullish it was. It was almost pretty much like the Amazon of China, right? There was certain talk about restrictions that were going to be implemented, which acted as a negative catalyst. BABA has been selling off ever since. As of right now, let's be completely honest, and I'm telling you this as I'm invested in BABA. Right now, the overall direction is not in its favor. It used to be super bullish. Right now, the bad news is still relevant. It's not aggressively recovering, nothing like that. So you're not missing out on anything by being in it right now, especially based off of what just happened. We saw a nice push. We reached the resistance, and now we're pulling back to the EMA line. So one of two things. We're at a critical point where this EMA line, if it breaks below the EMA line just like it has before, it can continue to sell off, which can drop right back down to, again, these like 250 support ranges, right? Or just like this, where it pulls back, it tests the EMA line, and if it validates it and we begin to see higher highs, then it validates it as the support, and we can see it to ascend from there. So I would set your alerts on both sides. follow up with it, and when direction becomes more clear, then it would begin to make sense on why we might go a little bit more aggressive. But as of right now, because it recently pulled back, looking at the MACD, looking at the RSI, and just looking how bearish it's been before on how it's been getting rejected by the EMA line, just based off previous patterns, I can easily see this thing dropping back to 260. And again, I am saying this as someone that's currently in Alibaba, right? I don't mind openly talking about, the potential that it has to drop, because one of the things that I'm mainly focusing on is my position size is small enough that I can tolerate that pullback. And I think that's what's most important, is you want to trade with enough money that you feel motivated, but not so much that if it pulls back, you feel uncomfortable. You have to find that nice balance. And trust me, that might not make sense right now, but over time, you will find that middle ground. Josh with GPS. Again, another one that I personally have been paying attention to. What do you guys think about this one? A very consistent uptrend pattern, very bullish, quality company. It's a retail company, retail store, right? So it's pulled back very aggressive. There's been a lot of uncertainties, especially due to its earnings and everything that's been going on with COVID, especially in the retail space. I don't think anyone would disagree that based off of recent patterns, the SMA line tends to be support. So I don't think anyone would disagree with the idea that we are oversold. It's, we've talked about this so many times. I like having this thing up for you guys, especially for some of our beginner traders. There's 3 stages of a reversal: rejection, consolidation, and confirmation. And as of right now, we went through the rejection. Right now, we're not necessarily making lower lows anymore, so we're kind of just consolidating, but we're also not making higher highs. I'm personally in GPS as well, and I'm saying this as in it's not ascending right now. It's not moving up, and it still has all this upside potential, but let's be honest, it can continue to sell off. It can continue to drop. So it is so important to wait for confirmation, especially if you're under the PDT rule. So I'm all for GPS. I'm really looking forward to it breaking above the EMA line, making higher highs, but we haven't gotten that confirmation yet, which is why I have a very small position in it, because things are still so uncertain. It's at a critical point where it can go from, breaking above the EMA line, or it can get rejected and begin to make some lower lows and lower highs. So we got PLUG. Alrighty. PLUG. I like this one. So again, things that I find very attractive about a stock, right, is there's pullbacks. Pullbacks, people like, especially beginner traders, they think that pullbacks or something selling off is like the end of the world. It's not, right? Especially if you're an investor or even if you're a swing trader, right? It's very important for you to understand the low points, the high points, 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 when it pulls back, when it pushes up, when it pulls back, and when to add more to your position size, maybe when to lock in some of your profits. As of right now, we're at a critical point where it's trying to indicate signs of a potential reversal, very similar to what it did back here before. So based off of where we're at right now, I see why you're paying attention to it, because it offers, an 18 to 19% ROI based off of the current price point. But we're not making higher highs above the EMA line yet, and it is very, very possible that it breaks below $24 and it makes lower highs. Just because, again, we've said this before, and I know I sound like a broken record, but there's some people that are watching this for the first time. Patterns tend to repeat themselves. They do not always have to. I'd rather be prepared than be surprised. We're not making higher highs right now. It would be great to see this thing begin to indicate signs of an uptrend. I see why you're paying attention to it, but be prepared. If you see a break of pattern and then this thing breaks below the EMA line and begins to pull back, then you're like, hey, maybe I should manage my risk, reduce my position size, because we might sell back off to $21 or $22 or all the way back down to $20, which is a very common support level. So I'm super excited to follow up with PLUG. I think it's a great call out, but it's at a point where we have to wait. So again, for everyone participating, I hope, please, I want to break down your stock. I want to break down SQQQ. I want to break down NIO. I want to break down PING. I need you to post it in the ticker call out format for your own good. I need you to plan out your trade. Think about this. It's not, it makes no difference for me. It's not that I'm trading these stocks. It's if you actually see value in these companies and you're going to put your hard-earned money in them, take time to plan out your trade. Where are you buying? Where do you plan to sell? How much money would you make? And where would you cut losses? And how much money would you lose? Visualize, plan everything out. What's your upside versus your downside? Is the opportunity cost worth it? That's the point. I know it's like, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to make you do something that you don't want to do. It's for your own good. It's a premeditated trade. Therefore, you can plan it out and then really begin to ask yourself, does it actually make sense? So let's go ahead and break down PROG. I appreciate you posting that in the ticker call out format. So this one's a little bit of a lower cap stock. So this is pretty much almost the exact opposite of what I normally trade. It's not that you can't make money. That's not what I'm saying. It's not that this thing can't increase, because at the end of the day, when there's a transaction happening, there's someone that's benefiting from that. All I'm saying is it's much more difficult to make money with something that is continuously selling off, making lower lows and lower highs. Ask yourself, how much more difficult is it when something is selling off for you to be able to buy something and sell it for a profit? The overall direction is playing against you. So yeah, I do agree it's oversold. It just made new lows on the 180-day chart. It just broke above the EMA line. You think it might have a nice little push. And if that's the risk that you want to take, so be it. All I'm saying is if you are someone that's struggling to consistently grow your account, if you're someone that's struggling to manage your risk, if you are someone that struggles in bag holding, there's nothing wrong with, admitting that. We've all been there. Everyone. It's just maybe partaking in a series of stocks like this is not in your best interest. Maybe crossing that out of your criteria and saying like, hey, maybe I'll only put my money in something that, increases in value over time. You need to learn how to walk before you run. And it is so much easier. It's still not easy, but it's so much easier when the overall direction is against you. It's so much easier when the overall direction is in your favor. I'm not against you. So ticker symbol T for AT&T. I like this one. Thank you, Fran, for putting that one in the ticker call out format. So here we go. This one's kind of all over the place. It was recently, getting rejected off of the SMA line, making lower highs and lower lows. And now it recently broke above the SMA line, which is a pretty big deal, right? And now it's making higher highs and higher lows. It looks like it just recently pushed up. And now we could expect a little bit of a pullback, right? It's done this where it pushes up, pulls back, pushes up, pulls back, pushes up, pulls back. At a nice little run right now. Look at the RSI. Look at the MACD. It's getting ready to descend. It's getting ready to descend. Understand, pick up on these things, right? It's a little bit more on the overbought side. Don't be surprised if it pulls back a little bit, but I do agree with you. Because it's been ascending and validating the SMA line as a support, if it pulls back to this general area and you want to buy and be able to sell for a profit, margins are not huge, but again, it's ascending and I see why you're paying attention to it. So I appreciate you calling that one out. So that was our fifth stock that we've broken down so far. We got Brandon White in the house. So we got ATHM. I've heard about this one today. So, alrighty. No, we've definitely broken this one down. You can see that I already have alerts set up on this one. Let me get a show of hands. For those that are tuning in and actually paying attention, who likes trading stocks that offer this kind of pattern? Bullish, consistent, easy to kind of identify the high points, the low points, the high points, the low points. It's not that you have to agree that ATHM is one that you would trade, but how many of you guys, how much easier would it be if you only, think about this, if you only focused your attention in trading or investing stocks that offer this form of consistency? Do you get what I mean? This is when people ask me, Ricky, what's your criteria? What's your secret? There's no secret. It's like, what's your secret to tying your shoe? There's many different ways on how to tie your shoe, but guess what? Those many different ways still get that same end result, and that's your shoe is tied. So it doesn't mean that just because I do something that means that you have to, or just because you do something means that I have to do it that way. Be empowered to be your own person. If you agree with, hey, it would be much easier to wait for something to pull back that has been bullish, that's been ascending, I can buy it for a good deal. And when I buy it for a good deal, I can wait for it to pick back up, lock in profits, understand that it's overbought based off of the RSI, based off of the MACD, based off of previous highs. I lock in profits, it pulls back, I buy more, and I repeat this process. Look at this. Buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. It's not crazy, right? Even if you use the very simple idea of the EMA line as knowing when it breaks above it, buy in here, sell in here, right? When it becomes overbought with the RSI. Pulls on back, you wait for confirmation, buy here, sell here, right? Pulls back, breaks above the EMA line, buy here, sell here. There's no such thing as a perfect trader, and there's no such thing as a perfect trade. But I think the goal for all of us is to get to as close to perfect as possible. And this is where, through trial and error, not being afraid to make mistakes, not aggressively approaching the market, that just because you have money doesn't mean that you should throw it at something and hope it grows. Be encouraged to make mistakes, but make sure that the dollar amount that you trade with can tolerate that. Do you get what I mean? So I really like ATHM. It's one of my favorite stocks that we've broken down so far, and I'm already invested in the two other. I'm not invested in ATHM, but it's because of the setup. It doesn't mean that it has to uptrend. It doesn't mean that it has to do what it's done before. It just has a history of doing it, and I'm excited to follow up with it. Alerts are set on both sides, because just like we know, there's two sides to every opportunity. Just as much as it could go up, it could break this pattern and get rejected. So let's not be closed-minded, and let's understand that, again, there's risk to every trade and every investment that we decide to take. What's going on, Zaid? FCEL. FCEL. How are we doing so far during this little Sunday stock talk? All right, so this is just my opinion. This is giving me huge red flags of manipulation, of hype. And whatever news is being shared right now normally doesn't last for a very long period of time. This is where it was trading at before. You can see its volume. Its volume has aggressively increased when it peaked up from $2 all the way to $11. These normally don't last a very long period of time. If someone is telling you, buy this because it's going to go to $15, $20, and they never talk to you about the risk, right? How many of you guys bought at $10 and when it pulled back to $7, you're like, I'm down 31%. Always ask, okay, well, what's the downside potential? And if they say that there is no downside, this thing's going to the moon, you have to understand. You have to get it through your head. There's risks to everything it is that we take. And I do agree with you. It did recently pull back. It's finding a support here, right? The very simple idea of the 3 stages of a reversal. And it might have another run based off of, breaking above that if the momentum picks up and we have a previous resistance level here. So I see why you're paying attention to it, but understand the difference between an investment and a day trade. You can manage your risk intraday. When you hold something overnight, you can't manage your risk because if it pulls back by the time the market opens, you're already down 30, 40%. Do something today that your future self will thank you for. It's not a make it or break it. I don't want to hold you back. If this meets your criteria, so be it. This is not something that I would personally trade. It's just too aggressive for the dollar amount that I trade with. And that's fine. If you're more aggressive, I respect it. You don't have to do what I do, right? But I want you to take both sides into consideration. I do agree with you. I see why you find this attractive. It's an attractive setup. I just want you to be aware of the hype. I want you to be aware of where it was last month and taking that into consideration don't be scared to day trade it, manage your risk. That's all I want you to do. Don't be afraid to lock in profits. Just know that hype is present and it's never a bad idea to keep some profit in your pocket. Oh, they call me Dr. Seuss. All right, here we go. STMP. What's going on, David? STMP. That was my dad joke of the day. No? All right. Well, STMP was showing signs of an overall uptrend and is now doing the exact opposite. The thing that I really liked about STMP is this is stamps.com. It was ascending. It was making higher highs, higher lows. And guess what? It was validating the SMA line as a support. Like we know, old support levels can become new resistance levels. And that is exactly what we are experiencing right now, where the SMA line is now acting as a resistance level. The MACD is already descending. The RSI is overbought. So this is giving me an idea that we might actually begin to pull back. The overall direction is against you. So if this is a long-term play, a long-term investment, that might be one thing that, okay, I can see why you're paying attention to it now because of its current price point and where it was before. But I would really look more into the fundamentals and less on the technicals and also ask yourself, yeah, it's sold off a lot right now, but it doesn't mean that it has stopped, right? It can continue to sell off. The overall direction is against you as of right now and just something that you might want to take into consideration. So let's go ahead and break down SRET. What's going on, Richard? SRET. I don't know if did I get that one correct? Let's see. So SRET, so showing signs of an ascending uptrend pattern, resistance right around $9 based off previous resistance levels. This one's kind of all over the place and it looks like it has pretty low volume. Yeah, very low volume, would not be something that I would trade. It doesn't meet my criteria. It's ascending, so I see that. That's why maybe you're paying attention to it. As long as it stays above the EMA line, it has a very consistent pattern with that. If you see a breakup pattern where it breaks below the EMA line and begins to make lower lows and lower highs, a breakup pattern, and has a lot of downside potential based off of previous trading prices. So take that into consideration as well. Friday guy, again, if you want me to break down your stock, you do not have to pay me. I do this, right, just because I like hanging out with you guys and this is part of our group, but just put it in the ticker callouts format, and I'll run through it. So Jeremiah, SPCE. SPCE. Here we go. Alrighty. Can we pause for a little bit, because a lot of you guys are sharing ticker symbols and I don't feel like we're paying attention enough. What do you think about SPCE? Do you guys like how bullish it's been? I do. It's been very bullish. It's been ascending, right? Do you like how consistent it's been? I do. It has a very consistent uptrend pattern, right? I agree. What is one reason that I would probably myself, at the current price point that it's at right now, why would I maybe be a little, iffy about, if I'm going for an investment, going for a trade, why would I maybe not want to buy right now? It's overbought, right? It's very overextended. It's coming from an amazing rally. It's very bullish. I hope that it continues to uptrend. But like we know, especially as it's reached these levels before, we're at 180-day highs, and we've experienced this before, where it peaks, consolidates. As it's consolidating, it's not making higher highs anymore, and then we make lower lows and lower highs, and we give it all back. Understand the low points, understand the high points. This is all about, not just for trading, not just for swing trading, but investing as well, of understanding, when to buy more, when to, either hold your position or sell off a portion of it. It wouldn't surprise me if we begin to see this thing sell off, unless more positive news ends up coming out for Virgin Galactic. But I'm going to set my alerts on both sides. I just think it's a little bit on the overbought side for my criteria, and I would rather focus on getting it for a better deal. But I really do appreciate you sharing this stock with me, and I see why you're paying attention to it. It makes sense. It meets a lot of people's criteria. We got Ramen with AAPL. I want to do a couple more. So let's go through these a little bit quicker. I might go through more than 10. So AAPL, I actually sold my Apple position, and the reason why is because we were approaching previous highs. You guys can see that it's gotten rejected around these highs of 125, resistance level there, and then it pulls back to kind of like the 115s, 118s around there, around the SMA line. So just take that into consideration. Understand the low points, high points, low points, high points. It's ascending, but it's not ascending that aggressively. So that's why I decided to close off a portion of my position. What's going on, J Dude? So CHRS. Let's run through these. Okay, so I can tell right away, first of all, this is a bioscience, not something that I would mess around with. It's consolidating a lot, not a super clear direction, and it probably has super low volume. This just would not be something that I would trade. Looks like a very aggressive sell-off during the aftermarket trading session. With the dollar amount that I trade with, I want a healthy amount of activity and volume. And as of right now, this just doesn't cut it for me. So it looks like we have a recent pullback. If anything, it's more on the overbought side based off of where we saw it close at, and the lower price points were right around $17. Again, understanding low points, high points, and as of right now, it's just a little bit more on the overbought side. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one, NNDM. Let's go on Whitney. So NNDM, here we go. Alrighty, so very consistent uptrend pattern. Looks like it came out of nowhere. It looks like it's been manipulated before. Huge red flags. That should be a huge red flag, right? That we're seeing a lot of random spikes in demand and in volume. Very, very overbought. Not a good deal, but very, very bullish. I see why you're paying attention to it. Being able to understand the low points and how it rallies, the low points and how it rallies, and then it peaks and then it pulls back. Higher risk, high reward type of approach. A lot more maybe of aggressive momentum trading. This is something that you're going to want to take into consideration, that if you are someone that doesn't do well with managing risk, with position size, averaging up, cutting losses, bag holding, then maybe this isn't going to be your thing. Again, you need to learn how to walk before you run, and this just might be moving too quick for you. Doesn't mean that it's the end of the world and you can never trade things like this. It just means that the importance of scaling. Watch your position size. If there's a breakout pattern, don't be afraid to lock in profits. Know when to manage risk, and don't be a bag holder. Let's go ahead and move on to, I'm going to do two more. So SPHD. What's going on, Richard? SPHD. Here we go. So very, very overbought. So it's been absolutely amazing. Been making higher highs and higher lows, reaching 180-day highs. So guess what? Every time almost that it does this, it pulls right on back. Understanding the low points and high points. I don't think I need to break that one down too quickly. Again, it was great that it's been able to ascend, but I see more downside potential than I do see upside. And that's why I would take that into consideration on maybe why to lock in profits and maybe expect a little bit of a pullback. So let's go ahead and do one more. What's going on, Tyler? So CGC, I appreciate you going out of your way. Out format. So CGC. Very overbought. As you guys can see, it's approaching 180-day highs. I'm going to break down a stock after this myself, and I'll be sharing it with you guys. Very overbought, very overextended. I like that you're paying attention to a consistent uptrend pattern. It's bullish, and it can continue to rally, no question about it. It's just, I feel like I missed the majority of the rally. We're not necessarily making higher highs as of right now, and I see more downside or pullback potential than I do see upside. I can see why if it pulls back, you might want to buy more and see if it continues to ascend. But as of right now, it's just, I feel like I'm too late to the party. You kind of get what I mean? And it just doesn't meet my entire criteria where it is ascending, it is an overall uptrend, but the downside outweighs the upside in my opinion. So one of the stocks that I specifically wanted to talk about, so these are all the stocks that we talked about within this Sunday stock talk, so it's a little bit more than 10. Hope that's okay with you. And I wanted to update you guys on ZM. So ZM, I think I talked about this in our video yesterday, but very quickly for those that did not watch it, got rejected off the SMA line, pulled on back, building that same support level, testing EMA line. I have my alert set here right around 125. If we begin to show signs of an uptrend from the EMA line to previous highs, which should be around the SMA line, offers a little bit over a 10% potential. It's not a crazy return, but it's a quality company, especially as a lot of states go back into lockdown. I just feel like the transition back to business as usual is getting pushed back, which means that the overall demand for Zoom would make sense as it can increase. Overall, even not just on the fundamental side, but on the technical side, it looks like it's building a solid support level, and we have our alert set and see if we get that proper confirmation for a solid setup if it begins to gap up. PTON has a very similar setup where it was pulling back, it built a support level, and then gapped right back up to that SMA line. And of course, we're expecting the same thing with the GPS, where we're building a support level right on there. But I don't want to take too much of your guys' time. I know that you guys have some crazy eventful plans or something like that probably going on. But what I did want to ask you guys is, I know that we have a lot of you that still have your stock in the ticker. I want to ask you is, if you haven't done so already, if you're part of Learn Plan Profit, or if you're part of our TechBud Solutions free Discord group, in the Discord group, we have a watch list or a group alert section. If you're part of TechBuds, if you're part of Learn Plan Profit, it's group alerts. Please post your tickers there and just tag me right after this video. If you tag me, I would love to be able to break down your stock, and I can even respond to you over DM, but please just post it in these channels and I can get back to you at a later time. So I really do appreciate your guys' time. I hope and wish you guys an amazing and eventful and profitable week. But again, it's the simple things in life that people tend to overcomplicate, and I really hope that you can encourage yourself to be selective. It's not that every stock is worth trading. It's the ones that meet your criteria, and over time that will begin to make more sense. So I really do appreciate you guys' time. I hope that we earned your thumbs up. I also wanted to ask you, we were planning on hosting free live trading. I don't know if that's something, just because of Christmas and leading up to New Year month. Let me know what you guys think about that. What's going on, Matt? I don't know if that's something that you would prefer. Should we host a free live trading around the 15th or 16th, somewhere closer to those dates, versus towards the end of the month? You guys let me know. If you guys agree live trading during the mid of the month, then just drop a thumbs up and then comment down below, and I'd be more than happy to be able to break that down for you. So yo, Ricky, on that pre-workout. I'm not. I'm actually very, very tired. I've pretty much, I traveled back from California today. I was speaking at that Avengers event, and I think a couple of you guys tuned on in, so I appreciate me today, but also sharing a couple of your minutes on your Saturday afternoon. So I really do appreciate it. Thank you guys again for everything it is that you guys do. A couple of you guys are asking what's the Discord. Everything is put in the description. You guys can click refresh, and if you guys refresh your screen, the first link is to our free Facebook group. We have 294,000 members. Free. you guys can scroll on down, and on the top pinned post, we have our Discord chat. If you guys want to watch me trade live as soon as tomorrow, first, watch my free videos on YouTube. I have over 2,000 free videos. But if you're someone that likes structure, if you want to work with me closer, and if you want to watch me trade live every day, then that is what we offer within the Learn, Plan, Profit lesson library. That's the second link down below. If you even just want to browse through what it is, what it includes, and if you want to watch one of our live trading videos, it's right down here. You can see what it's like, and if it's something that you want to be a part of, great. And if it's not, then guess what? I have nearly 2,000 videos on YouTube, and you're more than welcome to check those out. So please, I really do appreciate you guys' time. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note.